I want to introduce Dr. Chantel George to share more about this amazing program. First, I want to start by saying she was raised by a Dillard alum, her mom.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
Okay, I didn't know that.
A Louisiana native, Dr. Chantel George is the founder and CEO of Chantel George Consulting, a premier consulting firm dedicated to community engagement and social impact. CGC identifies systemic barriers and provide actionable solutions to promote opportunities for all students with particular expertise in the high school to workforce pipeline. Dr. George is also the founder of the Media Scholars Program, a new initiative that supports college students who are interested in the media field. Dr. George currently holds a BS degree in biology from Louisiana State University and a master's degree in higher education leadership from the University of Houston. In 2024, Dr. George completed her PhD at Louisiana State University in higher education.
Yes,
Under her
PhD.
leadership, she has partnered with over 20 organizations with an impact reach of 10 states, over 100,000 students. Dr. George brings more than 15 years of college access and success experience in the areas of higher education, K through 12 college and career readiness, and nonprofit leadership. Her professional portfolio and client base consists of the National College Attainment Network, Excel Sports Management, National Football League, Education Strategy Group, LSU, University of Houston, Northwestern State University, One Goal, College Possible, New Profit, Charter School Growth Fund, Trio, Bottom Line, and ACT, to name a few. That's quite a lot. In the community, Dr. George serves as former board president of College Beyond, a nonprofit that addresses the equity gap between students of color and affluent students in Louisiana. During her tenure as board president, she worked closely with NBA star CJ McCollum to launch the inaugural McCollum Scholars Program. Dr. George also serves as a board member for the 18th Ward, a nonprofit focused on youth sports and workforce development, and is an active member of both the Greater Houston and Louisiana Opportunity Youth Coalition. She serves on the selection committee for the National Coca-Cola and Dell Scholars Programs, and is a recent graduate of the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program. Let's give a round of applause for Dr. Chantel George.
Thank you.
How's everybody doing?
Great.
Alrighty. So thank you so much, Miss Tony, for that warm introduction. The first thought I said was, I need a vacation. I need two vacations. But happy to be here. Happy to be at Dillard University. As she mentioned, my mother is an alum, and so it always feels like home to be on campus. Again, I'm Dr. Chantel George, founder of CG Consulting and the Media Scholars Program, and excited to connect with all of you today to talk a little bit about our program and what we've done in just about 10 months. We are a new initiative that originally kicked off with the National Football League right before the Super Bowl. And so we had the opportunity to provide career exposure, access and exposure to students across New Orleans, and we're able to participate in that event and then have been able to do a lot of work since then. And so our program really allows students to get the access into large events. And so that's not just sports, it's sports, concerts, entertainment, large conferences, education, etc. And they've really done an incredible job. And so later you'll hear from three of our scholars on our panel. They'll be able to tell you a little bit more about their experience. So some of our program objectives: we provide students with exclusive access to major events. We also develop technical skills in photography, videography, broadcast, and digital content creation. We offer mentorship and professional learning opportunities, as the one you're attending today. And our goal is to amplify diverse voices in storytelling and create equitable pathways in the industry. So our scholar impact, as I mentioned before, we started with 17 students across 6 universities here in New Orleans. We have a waiting list of about 130 students, and so we're eager to open a new cohort in 2026, and so we'll have some more information about that. But this is just a snapshot of all of the major corporations and industries that our scholars have been able to connect with. They've been able to work events and partner with a lot of the entities that you see before yourself. So of course we started with Super Bowl. We've then done a lot of NFL events. We're excited to potentially go back in the Bay Area in 2026. And then the UFC, One Music Fest, Ebony Magazine, Nickelodeon, Apple Music, etc., to name a few. Some great data, and so we've had about 6 students who've graduated their senior year this past year, and 100% of those students were placed in internship post our program. And so this is a snapshot of some of the organizations that they've interned with. Some of them are actually now working for these organizations across the country. So Bloomberg, NFL Films, Memphis Grizzlies, and the Houston Chronicle are where our interns have been, our scholars have been placed over the summer. So again, some other media scholar data, as I mentioned before, a lot of applications. We chose 17 students, excited to create the next opportunity of students who would participate in this next year. About 50 plus interviews completed during our Super Bowl week, and then 8 events captured for content across multiple events that we've worked since February. Alrighty, and so for those of you, we'll have this slide a couple of times, but if you want to go ahead and get connected, that QR code will take you to our mailing list and our form. And so definitely go ahead and take some time to get the QR code shared with your friends as well. This is a great opportunity to stay connected to us. We do a really good job of providing opportunities, or if I see something or someone on the team sees something, we send it down the pipeline. And so we want to make sure that we're constantly building our network of students or recent graduates who may be interested in working with us. In addition to that, we are on Instagram. So we do have an Instagram and we do have a LinkedIn. And so if you are on those social media channels, please add us, tag us, share, repost, etc., because we definitely want to hear from you. All right. So I'm excited about this next opportunity. We are always in the business of creating professional development opportunities for students to learn more about the industry. And so we wanted to do a combined panel with both experts, professionals, and some of our scholars to talk about their journey into media. And so with that said, I'm going to introduce each of our amazing guests, and they will come and join me on this panel. First, we have Kristen Dufashard. She is the founder and CEO of Accrue Consulting here in New Orleans. Thank you, Kristen. Next, we have Kendall Francis, founder and executive director of Bless 26. Next, we have Jahari Smith, who's one of our Media Scholar alum. She's a student here at Dillard University and one of our expert photographers. Next, we have Ashton Broden, who is also a Media Scholar alum. He's a student at Xavier University and the founder of the AB Experience. And last but certainly not least, we have Ravian Burns. She is a member of our team. She is a social media and events manager. She's also a Media Scholar alum, an alum of Dillard University, and a very exciting content creator who you guys will also get some time with after this panel as well. So Ravian Burns.
Awesome. You graduated already? Awesome. Get involved early.
All right, do our microphones work? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Mics are on, mics are on? Am I on? Testing, testing. Testing. There we go.
There we go.
Can everybody hear us okay? Wonderful. Alrighty, so we'll do a quick wraparound to kick us off. So obviously we know your name and what you do, but tell us a little bit more about the businesses that you lead, the organizations that you represent, the expertise that you have. So we'll do a quick run around about that. So we'll start with you, Ashton.
What's up, everybody? I'm Ashton Broden. I'm a senior mass communication major with a minor in entrepreneurship, and right now I'm the founder and CEO of the AB Experience. It's a multimedia content creation brand where I do photography, videography, graphic design, and so far it allowed me to travel the world and just be able to leave a lasting impact with my films and just with different audiences. So I'm enjoying it.
That's great.
Hello everyone, my name is Tony Francis. I am employed by WSU News Channel 6, our local NBC station, but I work for young people through the organization that I founded in 2004. It's called Bless 26. Because of the things that I see as an assignment editor at WSU, it moved me to start fixing some of the problems that we just only report on. It has been inspiring. I love that I get paid to learn. And I get to work with people, which is the most important aspect of what I do in both areas. Pretty much, we'll get into this later on, but I started my nonprofit organization based off of the things that I did not like in my job and tried to quit. But it's inspired me to get more involved in our community, provide answers for young people, and it's made me a better journalist because of the contacts that I've been able to obtain in that process.
Kristen?
Hi, good afternoon or good morning, everyone. My name is Kristen Dufishard, and I am the founder and CEO of Accrue NOLA Consulting. So we are an impact-based marketing, communications, and event production firm based here in New Orleans. And we've had the opportunity to really lean into our mission, which is to connect communities globally through storytelling. We really believe that everyone has a story. Everyone has a brand, whether you are attending to it or not. It does exist. And we've really just been able to help with the strategy of different organizations and really connecting with their audiences in authentic ways. So working with everyone from Intuit during the Super Bowl to the University of Michigan's Medical Center, just harnessing my background in higher education of 15 years and really trying to find the right story to tell at the right time that shows authenticity of the brands.
All right, hey y'all, my name is Shahari. I'm a junior here at Dillard, currently pursuing my BA in film. I am a multifaceted artist, but I'm here to talk about my photography, which I've been doing for about 8 years. I've taught myself everything I know from YouTube and other photographers. I do pretty much all photography. I've taught myself how to do like concert, portraits, conflict photography, event photography, baby photos. I learned how to do it all, and yeah.
Love that.
Hey y'all, my name is Raven Burns. As Dr. George stated, I am a alum of the illustrious Dillard University. I got my BA in mass communication with a concentration in multimedia journalism, and then after graduation, I just skyrocketed in working with Dr. George to make a better impact for students, to network and get better opportunities for future events that come into the city or anywhere else that we may find our hands in. And I'm somebody that is also multifaceted, creative, and just a freelance journalist who wants to share stories visually and just be in the community, be a big impact.
Thank you, Ravian. So Kendall, I'm going to start with you. I'm excited. Kendall is my new friend. We've gotten to know each other the past couple of weeks. Tell us a little bit, you mentioned about the nonprofit you've began in your career in media. Talk us through the young Kendall, the Kendall that was in school. What made you want to pursue media? And tell us a little bit about what were some of those key moments that shaped your career.
Unfortunately, I never planned it for it. I'm the kind of kid you tell me I can't do something. I was older. Came into the office and since I was injured, I was filling my scholarship requirement, and I gave him the information I needed. I'm like, hey, I'll give this to you if you want on my internship. When I got hurt, I decided to double major, communications and media arts, to take full advantage of my tooling opportunity. And Len's internship, and when I went in, I was immediately dismissed. The receptionist of all people. And I'm like, if you're going to dismiss me, at least be the boss. That's number one. And so she said, oh yeah, you're that football player. And being an African American male, having a father sits on level of any institution. I cannot recall anything that I learned at Tulane whatsoever, besides being proud of who I was and how I was. And the last thing I was going to let someone do is just like, okay, you're that football player, go over there with the sports guy. I fully intended on working with sports, but I took it as a challenge, and I'm like, look, maybe I'm gonna learn everything up in here. Fast forward, she ended up working for me. So that's how I finished out.
Okay.
But being a football player or an athlete, the first day on my internship, they told us what to do. Second day, they repeated the same thing. And on the third day, I said, let me guess, you want us to do this. I went back to my football days, and when you're matriculating up to the starting job or whatever on a football team, you see the first string guy run the play, you see the second string guy run the play, what have you. I knew, okay, let me just make a name for myself, the same way you want to coach and learn your name. Make sure and be that biggest competitor. So I use my competitive nature in what I learned in football, and I apply it to my professional life. I tap the young lady on the shoulder. I say, go find yourself, teach me how to do what you do, then go do something else and get a promotion or something. I didn't know it was going to work out 3 months later when someone was promoted to the news director. She literally tapped me on the shoulder, hey, how would you like a promotion? I was like, great, since I don't work here. She's like, what do you mean you don't work here? You're here every day, everyone knows your name, the anchors love you. I'm like, yeah, I make people know my name. Anyway, they ended up hiring me. 6 months after that, they promoted me. 6 months after that, they promoted me again. And I was taken into a editing booth by Norman Robinson. He's our
Veteran.
Yes, veteran, OG,
Yes.
swaggiest man in the world.
Yes.
And he said, look here, son, I see everyone loves you, and you have something about you that everyone likes and loves. Let me tell you right now, before you move any further, you do not have a job, you have a responsibility. As an African-American journalist, you do not have a job. I know you think you're cool, I know you think you're smart, I know this, that, and the other, but I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna be on your ass. Okay. But you ain't saying this to everybody else. I'm not worried about anybody else. So taking me into an ed booth that's soundproof. So he said a lot more stuff and I just edited. But he was very, very packed. So for him to take me and to say that, the way that he said it, I knew it was on me. And so I just go about everything that I do inside my office differently.
Thank you for sharing that. And that was a lot of great information. One thing I picked up was this power of mentorship, right? Mentors, people that take you under their wing. Kristen, I want to go to you. Talk to us a little bit about your journey and what mentors and what does mentorship, how has mentorship reflected the way you've been able to operate for over 15 years?
Absolutely. I think, first of all, Norman Robinson, like to have him as a mentor, I don't know if y'all know how big of a deal that is, but I was over here fangirling real quick. So mentorship is really important, and I find that no matter where you are in your career, you never stop finding mentors. I recently just acquired a new one a couple weeks ago, and she told me, I'm your big sis now. Whether you want to or not, you're on this journey to building a business, building a media empire. I'm here as a supporter and a cheerleader of yours, and she's doing the same thing. Because I do want to make a point before I get into my story is that there is a such thing as cooperation. How many of you have heard of that term before? Never. Okay. So I learned this actually working in the festival world. Cooperation is we can be competition, but we can also work together to achieve a bigger goal, right? So it could have easily been Kendall and Norman competing for a role, but instead they're working together to further journalism told by Black men and stories told by Black men. So mentorship, extremely important, and working with people that are in your field, also extremely important. So about me, I am a New Orleans native. I was born and raised here, went to LSU, and I knew growing up, and I tell people this, I was gonna be Oprah. So I had the playbook, she had already done it. I knew she went to journalism school, she majored in mass comm, she started working on the news. So I went in thinking that I was gonna be an anchor doing broadcast journalism. Well, at the time, before the cameras got small like that, they were huge and bulky, and walking around that campus with that camera was not something that was in my cards. I didn't know, just know. So I actually pivoted, which you might find you'll do quite a bit in your media career, and I pivoted to PR. So I realized that working with people, talking to people, telling their stories, working with the media on their behalf to talk about why their stories were important was something I was really good at. My senior year in school, one of my mentors, I'll never forget, Dr. Jinx Broussard. She actually used to teach here at Dillard University. Dr. Jinx, we know some people that know Dr. Jinx. She's one of my dearest mentors, and I'll never forget, she made us create our first PR firm my senior year. We were assigned a nonprofit. It was about 8 students on the team, and I had gotten my first real life client. It was one of the battered women's shelters in Baton Rouge, and I was able to get them on TV 3 times, get 3 press hits for them, free press for the shelter, so that way we were able to raise funds so that they could increase their capacity of the women that were coming in and being housed by them. I knew in that moment that that is what I wanted to do. Help amplify people's stories so they could do the good work that they needed to do. And that's a lot of my background. That took me to Houston, it took me to New York, it brought me back here to New Orleans, and I'm very grateful to be able to share that story.
Thank you, Kristen. Ashton, I will go to you. I know Ashton is a very busy person, full-time student, full-time business owner. Can you talk a little bit more about your company, and specifically as a student, how have you been able to get into some of the rooms that we are able to see you in?
All right, so like y'all been saying, mentorship is just really, really important, and mentorship across all avenues of life. So not just having a mentor in your career, but a mentor just to be able to pivot in any space, no matter what you have going on personally. But my journey kind of started in 11th grade, high school. My media teacher, going by Mrs. Phil Jones, introduced me to the world of media. I never had an idea that I could have a professional career doing media. Like, at first I was supposed to go to school to be computer science, that type of thing, and then I touched the camera, and it just was like a natural God-given talent. So with that being said, I never knew how to flip it and make it a career. So I got into mass communications, got into the arts, and I really realized that every single video I created, every single picture I took, every single person I met, I left a lasting impact with them, and they wanted to keep on following me. So through that, I came to Xavier, and it all started from there. My professor took me to London. She was like, "You ready to go to London?" My freshman year, she said, "You ready to go to London?" I'm like, "Already, man? I just got there." Like, London. Went to London, and that changed my life forever. So since then, I've just been outside of the streets doing nonprofits. Everything is not paid, so I'm kind of like going with the flow, trying to navigate those spaces. Also, still being a student, just learning with my peers around me, because a lot of people think you have to chase up, but you got to chase people around you. Because it's those people around you that'll help you build your persona, that'll help you build your brand, and y'all build together, because everything in the industry is teamwork. Like she said, competition will build together for the greater goal. That's exactly what it is for me, and it's always worked that way. So even beating Miss George and beating Ravian and beating Jashari, we all just like come together, and we all do things that we love to do for the greater goal of just building each other and building our network. So that's a little bit about that.
Thank you, Ashton. I love that, building around you as opposed to building up. A lot of us want to, we're seeing the Oprahs, or we're seeing the Taylor Rooks, or we're seeing, the people that we aspire to be, which I think is awesome. But we're realizing that there's a lot of talent just right next door, and how do we connect the dots with those? So that was really amazing what you said. I'm gonna go to Ravian. I know Ravian has been doing a lot of content creation, a lot of work around that. She's been getting a lot of buzz with TikTok and all of those spaces, which has become a new avenue for students. A lot of students, a lot of people in general are looking at content creation as a revenue stream, as something fun to do as well. Talk to us a little bit about your content creation journey, and who were those influential people that have helped you along the way?
Oh, where do I begin? Okay. I started around COVID. That was when TikTok really was getting its start, around COVID time. Not gonna lie, my first video was a dance video, and I think I fell.
Oh.
And I got back up because the camera was still rolling. But overall, it was just me, having a good time at first, and then around the time of my senior year, going into my freshman year of college, I just thought to myself, why not see where this goes? Not career-wise, but like make more of it into a better impact for myself. And then as soon as I got to college, I was just like, okay, you see a lot of people doing college content, so why not start from there? Why not, trends on TikTok, videotape and record different things happening on campus. And at times I felt discouraged because TikTok is one of those apps where it tries to compare you to other people and then you start to doubt yourself. But then I had to realize at the end of the day, everybody is different. At the end of the day, you're supposed to be your unapologetic self when creating content, when showcasing who you are for other people to say, hey, I really want to meet that person one day. And so the more that I did content, the more people saw it. Like literally people from Dillard were like, oh my God, you create content? No way. I'll follow you. I'm like, oh, okay, that's great. And I didn't, in a sense to me, I didn't, in a way, didn't like that because it was weird. Like, oh, y'all see my content. Like, I appreciate it. And I'm grateful, but it's just like, this is my first time. This is so crazy in a good way. In a good way. And so as I got more into my classification, it just got to a point of doing different events. And I know Disney on the Guard came from my senior year, which that was a big blow up. Super Bowl, that was a really big blow up. Just different events. I know I recorded some things and I would talk to different organizations like, hey, can I record this? Can I record that? And it'll be okay. I think it's just more so of the self-doubt and challenging yourself to do better. Because there would be people asking me, how did you do this? How did you get into this? And literally talk about what are some of the things that I did to pivot myself. Y'all, I'm not gonna lie, I still use my phone. I don't have a camera. I still use my phone to create content. I use a tripod and a phone and a light, and that's it. That's all you need. You see these creators create so much content, they literally have their phones majority of the time, tripod and a light. That's all it takes. It's simple as that. And so right now, thankfully now I'm at 10K on TikTok, which is a blessing.
Shout out TikTok.
And it's just really just being myself.
What's your app so we can all follow you now?
Oh, okay. Well, it's that's so Raven. So like True That, and then so Raven. So like that's so Raven, something like that. That's so Raven. So it's the future of being your next favorite content creator. That's my little phrase for that. So it's just at the end of the day, I just really had to tell myself to never lose sight of who you are as a creator, because if you let that go, you'll lose so much of the reason of why you did it in the first place. And ever since then, here we are now.
Thank you, Raven. She's doing some incredible work. We loved her so much. We hired her. And I love that you brought up the point of you only need a light, a phone, and a tripod, because I do think people think you need to spend thousands of dollars on elaborate equipment. I'm also with a tripod, a light, and a phone as well. So there's always, you can do a lot of great work minimally. So I think that's something really great that you brought up, and definitely follow Ravian on social media. Jahari, I'm going to go to you. You did mention you are a multifaceted media expert, photography, and a lot of other things that you do. How do you balance all of the things, or deciding which part of your creativity spirit that you want to tap into? I'm sure there's a lot of students in the room who enjoy content creation, who may be thinking about in front of the camera, behind the camera. Sometimes I think there's a push to try to narrow and decide what you want to do. And then there's also, I think the other argument is like, just do it all. How are you able to balance that?
Right, so I started with just learning everything I could about everything I could. YouTube is it's insane, the information you can find on YouTube. I learned how to do everything I know mostly from YouTube. But I think when you're choosing what one you want to focus on, it should be the one that fulfills you the most, the one that doesn't feel like a job at the end of the day. That's what photography is to me. But I feel like the other things I've learned from other art forms play into photography for me, or learning about content creation helped me get that fast cycle I get when I'm doing my photography. Now I'm editing, I'm putting it out. So now I'm putting out content like content creator, but I'm a photographer, which makes people like me because I'm fast. So I think when you once you learn everything, you can use all the skills and tools you've learned from each thing to pour into your main outlet.
Thank you, Jahari. Kendall, I'm going to come back to you. We know that the media landscape is constantly evolving. I feel like it's changing every week. What skills do you think are essential right now for a lot of the aspiring media professionals to think about?
Be who you are all the time. Right now, I'm going through this struggle to where you have to first of all, understand what you're entering into, understand what you're doing, and pay attention to every single thing that you see. Don't be one person at work and one person when you're at home. If you're watching social media, be paying attention. There's a story there. There's someone who posted this. People post what they're passionate about. And so if you know that everyone's posting what they're passionate about, if you see a trend, if you see something that everyone's talking about this keeps coming up, how can you tell a story in a way that can help people? Understand exactly what news is. We have 1.5 million people in our DNA, I believe, and when we come on the news or what makes the news is what's going to impact them so they can make a decision for themselves and for their families. Everyone's concerned about the weather. Some people say, oh, that's not my neighborhood. I don't really care about that crime, but there's still a story there. Understand that you're going to approach people on their worst day. You don't see us doing great light and fluffy stories all the time. We're usually going to talk to someone who has just committed a crime, who might be going to jail, they just lost someone, they've just been indicted. In New Orleans, we have a different landscape here. We have culture, community, education, crime, corruption, every day of the week. Anywhere else, it might be a ribbon cutting for new Albertsons or Publix, and job creation, they added 20 more jobs. No, here, we have some madness. If you don't understand New Orleans, don't talk about New Orleans. But social media has changed the game. If you're just watching Joy Reid, Don Lemon, what's my guy who's always angry? Roland Martin. Anyways, but they've had to create their own platforms because they got tired of editing themselves. And so you're seeing what we can talk about in America, and you're seeing what people don't want us to talk about in America, but we all live in America. Don't discount what you saw happen to Jimmy Kimmel. The fact that the leader of the free world does not like people talking about him. You entered a job as a public servant to serve the public and to be the leader of the free world, but you can't take people talking about you. And when that happened, I saw a shift. I called my father and said, Dad, about time to wrap this thing on up. Time to do something a little different. Because if we can't do what we've been hired to do, like I keep telling you that young people, we don't have a job, we have a responsibility because we have to make sure that our community is depicted fairly and accurately. And that's because we keep using this narrative where, there's this narrative. And black people are suffering from they. We haven't identified who they is yet. Well, we know what they is. We better identify who they is because they is seeking our ass. Tell me if I'm wrong. Exactly. So we can't keep jumping at ghosts anymore. So we need these storytellers. We need these journalists. We need you to be passionate about what you do. But your online platform is huge because you can fill in the blanks. Because I only have a minute and 23 seconds to tell you something that's been happening over the last 24 hours. And so that's why the social media following and the skill sets that you all develop, the fact that you taught yourself on YouTube, you've now erased all excuses. And I appreciate that from you so much.
That's great, Kendall. I want to a follow up for you around censorship, and this is open to anyone who wants to answer. How do young creatives, like we said, you don't want to be canceled. Everything is out there. How do you balance? What do you recommend for those who are trying to balance? I want to be my authentic self on my social media. I want to be who I am, but knowing that there's eyes watching. You have jobs that are looking at social media when you're applying. You have fellowships and scholarships and things that are actually going to look at your social media. So what do you recommend for our young people around balancing being who they are, but also realizing that there are eyes that are watching?
No one can touch you if you know what you're talking about. When you're just blasting out random opinions, talking outside your neck, whatever, if you know what you're talking about, when we show up to a scene like, hey, you can't have a camera here, sir, I'm sitting on the sidewalk. This is a public sidewalk. You cannot remove me news product. If you're going to start spitting out statistics, please do not say what you heard. Please talk about what you know. And when you stand on business, there are corporations and organizations that we need that. I have reporters that cannot do things without a press release. I need you to beat the streets, knock on the doors, know what you're talking about, and hold people accountable. Ask that question everyone else is scared to ask. You literally are a professional question asker. You know, I'm looking at my guy in the back, you know, I don't see him, I see Toy. He's very, very good at what he does, but he's also a great human being, and he got to be a news anchor for a reason. They took him off the street because he just delivered news into your newsroom. But when you're a great professional question asker, there's an expectation of you to ask the questions that me and my family are thinking about. And then when you can get to this person that I can't get to and ask them that question that I need to know what's going on. And you can deliver those sort of answers. And then whatever you're limited to within your career, are you good enough to where you can fill in those blanks online? Hey y'all, let me tell you what y'all couldn't see on the news today. You're not gonna get in trouble with your job because you're saying, y'all, we need to be concerned, we need to be mindful, we need to move like this, and so forth and so on. Don, Lemon, and Joy Reid have done that in an excellent way.
They have.
And they are kind of charting the path that we're probably gonna have to move into to say our stories.
Absolutely. Kristen, kind of piggybacking off of that, I know you spend a lot of your time with press releases, PR, and all of those spaces. How do you balance censorship and being your authentic self as well?
I would say I really find the balance with, of course, being my authentic self, but I think it's really important to, yes, know what you're talking about. I love that. And just be authentic to your story. I think that is the biggest thing. While you're being yourself, think about what it is you want to convey as you're speaking. Yes, you should know the facts. Yes, you should understand the topic at hand, what you're talking about, right? That's the number one thing that I do when I'm working with a client. We have an intake call and we sit and we learn about each other. If I'm gonna tell your story on your behalf, I need to know you. I need to know what your values are. I need to know what makes you tick. I need to know what your goal is. Are you trying to pull people toward you, push people away? What are you trying to do? And I think in this world today, in media being so ever-changing, that is so important to understand what the story is that you're trying to tell. People do get on the internet and they say anything. And that's a prerogative because we do have free speech. But just know that the things that you say come with consequences. And so if you're not clear on what your mission is, because I think for me, I need to understand what my mission is before I try to talk about somebody else's. If my mission is to spread empathy through storytelling, because that's literally what I want to do. I understand that people understand each other through the stories that we tell. My mission is not to spread hate. So I would not support an organization or amplify an organization that is going to go against exactly what I stand for. So I think that's the biggest thing, is understanding what it is you want to say by knowing what your values are and then understanding the values of what the actual story is that you're trying to say.
The beautiful thing about what you do in PR, especially having an understanding and connection with community, you articulate to newsrooms, to an assignment editor, me. I get 350 plus emails a day. I'm looking for an excuse to get rid of it. I might be 10 of them, whatever. Most of the time, someone is so passionate about something, they have to hire you to help them break that down, so that you can sell the story to me and tell us that it's worth telling. And a lot of times, people want to send me the flyer. This is not the club, and it's not my car to lunch you. Do not send me the flyer because you're not going to know it. I'm hitting the loop. But when you can at least provide me the who, what, when, why, where, and you use those impactful words like, hey, look, I got a client, they don't know how big this is, and I'm trying to help them tell their story, so
Yes.
we can help them tell their story.
Yes.
You can say whatever you want to say on social media, but when it gets to me, and I decide, or help decide that it's going to go on the news, now you're relevant.
Yes, and it's legitimate.
News covered that, that must be relevant, and that's why they get that follow, that's why they get more clicks, and that's when they get more donations, because that's why she told a story about the battered women's shelter. Oh, we now can see the story of the news talking about it, so it must be relevant. but you can keep swiping for anything else.
Can I add one more thing
Sure.
to that? I just want to say, so we all in here, we've learned about different types of media, right? We've talked about the news media, PR, we've talked about content creation. I just want to add just this little nugget about the most important thing to me in media in my career has been relationships. It has been the relationships that I've had with media, with my content creators, with my vendors, with my team, with my interns. Those relationships will take you everywhere that you need to go. Making sure you express what it is that you need and having people on your team to help you get there. Chantel is one of my, Dr. George, excuse me, is one of my mentors. But she and I have a relationship, although we may be the same age, we graduated school at the same time. She's further in her entrepreneurial journey than I am. So having mentors and having relationships with people that are where you want to be, whether they're sitting right beside you, these ladies might be where you want to be, these gentlemen might be where you want to be, holding on and creating those relationships are going to be so important as you continue to tell your story, reach out, tell stories on behalf of clients if that's what your goal is, through pictures, through content, through video. Having those relationships are going to be so important.
Couldn't have said it better, Kristen. Couldn't have said it better. You cannot be what you cannot see. I think my scholars have heard me say that. The biggest reason why we even began Media Scholars was because I was in a room in a meeting with the NFL, and the question was brought up: how do we engage more young people into Super Bowl week? And I immediately, as someone who's also a big sports fan, I immediately thought of the media center. I'm like, well, I know there's a huge media center, 6,000 credentialed media. How do we get students credentialed? And for those of you who have never gone through a credential process, it is an arm and a leg to get credentials. They want your left kidney, your right toe, and everything else. They want to know how many followers you have. You have to have a certain millions of followers to even be considered.
Yes.
And so we fought really hard for 17 students to even be able to get into the room. And that was because we were intentional and we knew that there were not going to be many Black students in particular in those spaces. And when we got to the media center, we saw that we were the only students of color that were in there. And so relationships are so important. So shout out to the NFL for allowing us to be able to create something like this, and for myself and members of my team and scholars as well, who are continuously advocating, because it's still a challenge. It's still a fight. It's still a back and forth with even some of the organizations here, some of the sports teams here. It's still a conversation of, are they ready? Are they going to be in the way? We are not a talent organization, right? I've heard it all, and I continue to call and send emails because it is important for students to be in those rooms, because there are certain things that you can learn in the classroom, and there are certain things that you only will learn being out there. So I wanted to just piggyback off of what Kristen said, because that was so important. I want to go to our three scholars about what we're talking about with relationships. What resources, organizations, or conferences that you would recommend for students to be on their radar? I know Comic-Con, is it Comic-Con? No, it's
CultureCon.
CultureCon, wrong one. CultureCon is a big deal, but tell us a little bit about what are the organizations and resources that students should have on their radar.
NAUJ.
Okay.
That's a good one.
Yes.
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 Crazy thing, for my senior year before graduating, I reestablished Dillard's chapter. So, please,
Okay.
for anybody that is interested in media, please search and look into the organization. It's so wonderful. It brings out so many opportunities, mentorships. Literally, they send out emails about workshops, even conferences that come up every year. And so it's really been a big help. And I know every year they do the annual brunch. So it's that, I would say that's one. Yeah, that's really good.
Anything to add, Jahari?
Yeah, I'm gonna say it again, I can't stress this enough. Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Whatever you wanna do, someone has already done and made a video about how they did it and how to do it
Fair.
and all the steps you need to take to do it. And here's a form, and this is the thing you should buy. And if you can't buy this, get this one. And like anything you could ever want to do or want to know about is on YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok. When I got a opportunity to do a concert, I never shot concert photography, but I was emailing this lady like I had, and as soon as she said I could do it, I went on TikTok, how to shoot concert photography, what to buy for concert photography, and I saw it and I learned it for 2 weeks straight. And when the concert came, I took pretty okay photos. I've learned more from them, but
She took great photos.
thank you. But yeah, that's my 3 biggest things I could give advice for.
I agree with them both, but for me, my story is a little different. I say go rooted in community, like get outside of your community, go to panel events, go to workshops, get around with other creators that you see building because they may know somebody or maybe doing something that you might also be interested in, and it's at that event you might connect and be able to meet people. So a lot of my opportunities I get come from just simply going to a panel event or going outside and doing this nonprofit community initiative or being involved with your school's SGA or anything like that, of that nature. So yeah. Or look up different conferences outside of New Orleans. Like there's the BEA conference in Las Vegas for all media, from cameras to editing to software, different technologies like that. Even some movie producers and all of them are out there, and it's just like $100, I think, just to enter. While that might seem like a lot, you have access to the whole space for a whole 3-day weekend. So EA National Conference, it happens I think around April or May, something like that. So yeah, that's a great conference if you're interested in that.
I want to say something.
Go ahead.
How many of y'all have a LinkedIn? Okay, great.
Come on, LinkedIn.
Also very helpful. You can also follow other students that go here or other schools. Really connect. Like Ashley was saying, be in the community. They have so many events that are posted in LinkedIn in the community that you can literally go to, even connect with the person as part of the event. Like, hey, can I come and do, coverage for you or whatever the case. Utilize the resources because they're really out there for you guys.
And just keep going. And when you connect, make sure you connect with a value point. A point of value.
Yeah.
It's tens and thousands of people out here that want to do what you want to do, that want that spot. But it's important for you to be able to communicate why you, what kind of value do you hold to this organization, to this event, or to this specific person. Because if I don't know your why, why should I care? You know what I mean? So know your value point.
And I tell you just for wisdom, let me tell you what I don't have. It's a whole lot of time. And you talking about what you're wishing for, and you're willing to work for what you say that you want, and I end up outworking you for you. We got a problem. Because now I want my time back. And you can't give it to me, so now I'm mad. So I make all your calls, and if you call anyone else that I know, I'm like, hey, be careful with that. I'll never like be careful with that. Answer these 3 questions before you even start in that dialogue. Please know what you're talking about. And I love that you say bring value. That is huge.
That is one thing. I'll just go ahead.
I love the Wells Foundation. They help with investigative journalism. You heard about Nexstar. The only reason I hear about Nexstar because Jimmy Kimmel was part of it and he decided to run them. Look into the internships. Hearst owns the big issue. 23 news stations, about 30 magazines. Look into the Hearst internships, paid internships. Look into the companies that own the corporations that you've seen interest in. And they might be looking for something new. And the one thing about you is that you bring new ideas because no one is you like you. So coming from your perspective, so look at the ownership of anyone and everyone that you see in front of you.
Absolutely. The last thing I'll add is there is another organization called Diverse Representation. You can follow them on Instagram as well. A really amazing leader, Jaya Thomas, who's coming from the entertainment system. So they post a lot of internship opportunities. They just had a massive virtual career summit. So they have a national brand. So diverse representation for those of you that are interested in joining mailing lists and things like that as well. So to kind of wrap this up, I want everyone to answer this question as you're thinking about your career and everything that we've talked about. And we have amazing people in the audience. What's the one piece of advice that you would give a young college student or even a recent grad who is really trying to break into this industry? What's that one piece of advice, that one thing that they should really consider?
I'm gonna go first, and I'm gonna just say that your alignment and your purpose is based on you and your personal experiences. You know, where you end up today might not be where you end up 5 days from now, but you'll never figure out what might happen on day 5 if you give up and if you quit. And what might happen fast to somebody else, you have no idea how long that person has been present, and just staying faithful and loyal to their purpose before they finally break. So just because it happened for me and it seems like 2 days, don't mean that it took me a lifetime to figure it out. So please stay in alignment with God and in alignment with your purpose, and everything else will make sense from what you do to the people you meet. And if you ever have to be punished for being authentically yourself, or for using your voice, or for exploring your arts, then maybe that's just not the place for you, and you should accept that. So that's the biggest piece of advice I'll give to y'all. I really like you. I really like you. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
I have mine. So alignment was mine too, but I'm gonna switch mine. You have to be able to, as Black people, anywhere, you have to be ready and willing to outwork anyone you come across. Because this goes back into my thing. You too. If someone gives me an opportunity and I don't know how to do it, I'm gonna stay up all night learning how to do it until I know, because I'm gonna get that job. I'm not gonna give it away because maybe I don't know about it, or oh, I don't think I'm good enough, I haven't had enough experience. I'm gonna outwork whoever they put in front of me, and I'm willing to do that. When we got the Super Bowl opportunity, we would be out there. We would be out there until I'm getting home at like 1:30. I'll get home at 1:30 a.m. I'm sitting on my computer like this, editing my pictures. I was falling asleep. I was trying to twist my hair for the next day, so I was looking crazy. I was falling asleep at the computer editing my photos, and they would be out at 8 a.m. the next morning. Because I'm gonna have my pictures gonna be out first. I don't care if I got 10 followers. They gonna see it first.
Yes.
No news outlet had the pictures I had yet, because I had mine out first.
I know that's
So
right.
you have to be ready and willing to outwork. As Black people, we know that we have to work harder than most people anyways. You gotta work even harder. You gotta be up at 3 a.m. doing your editing. Getting ready, getting your posts ready, getting your words ready, sending it to this person, and to that person, so that's my biggest piece of advice.
I'd say, don't, don't compare yourself. Do not compare yourself to the possibilities, to the talents that God has placed in your heart and who you are on this earth. If you were selected for something, if you were to contact somebody and they decided to choose you, then they didn't choose nobody else but you. You were placed in the rooms for a reason. We were placed in the rooms for Super Bowl for a reason. Remember that, and I know Kennedy, she always says comparison is the thief of joy. Do not, and I mean do not, dim your light because somebody else is doing the same thing as you, and you can do 10 times better as them. Remember that.
Also, just to piggyback off you a little bit, only you can do what you called to do, y'all. It's only when the way I take my pictures is not going to be the way she takes her pictures. But we both have great eyes for what we do, and that's what we do it.
Yeah.
Can't nobody else do it like that.
And just to piggyback off that again, like I was thinking that whole time because I was feeling like heavy imposter syndrome in there. It's hard not to. We were surrounded by, if there was anybody under 45, they weren't Black. And if they were Black, they weren't women. And people are just staring at you. I mean, we walked in there, 20 people deep, 20 Black people deep. Everybody was like, give us looks, and it was hard not to feel like we didn't belong.
We stood our ground, though. We stood our ground.
That's right. As you should.
But it's hard not to feel like you don't belong there.
Yeah.
So you have to work through that imposter syndrome and just know, God wouldn't put you there if He wasn't supposed to be there. Just know that you wouldn't be here if you wasn't supposed to be here. And if you're not supposed to be here, teach you a lesson. Maybe you know that in your heart this isn't for you, but you wouldn't be nowhere. Well, you wouldn't be anywhere you're not supposed to be.
There you go.
So,
There we go.
Yeah, just that imposter syndrome is crazy, but you have to work through it because you have to know you were there because you earned that spot.
Me, that's kind of, it's my standard advice, but it goes along with what you all been saying. Number one, please, whatever you do, just be relentless. You have to be relentless, because if you say that you're about this, and I can just, some people, they don't care what you put in your resume, they don't care what you said about yourself. Me, I'm just gonna watch how you work. I'm real big on your fruit. You can tell me you're a tree, you can have leaves and you can have branches. If I don't see any fruit, hey,
Yep.
you're wasting my time and taking up space for somebody else that really wants to.
Mm.
One, let me
That
catch you being relentless. And
Mhm.
overall and in general, God's plan for your life is absolutely unequivocally none of your business. So if you're going to go about something that is placed on your heart, go about it relentlessly. You're either going to learn real fast or you waste too much time that this is not for you, or you're going to trip up here and be another opportunity. It's going to be another opportunity because it's going to register with somebody. So relentless, God plan for your life and none of your business.
Mhm. I would just say, I always tell people, be bold, advocate for yourself, and lean into your relationships. Being bold is something I do because I believe that if you don't ask, you're telling yourself no. And I don't like to tell myself no personally. And I'm gonna get to the no quick. If you can't do what I need or you can't help me reach my goal, tell me no quickly so I can find my yes. I'm gonna move around and figure out where my yes is. Advocate for yourself. You always have to be your biggest advocate. Like I said, you have a brand, whether you know it or not, whether you are maintaining it or not, you must advocate for yourself because nobody else is going to do it. Dr. George, advocated for her media scholars. That's why they were able to walk in a room where they were not invited, 20 deep, and said, y'all see us here. We are here, and we're here to stay. Advocate for yourself and for what your goals are. And the last thing, lean into your relationships. I know we talked about this one. Leaning into your relationships is going to take you so far. Communicating what your need is and having your community, your network, amplify that for you is how opportunities are going to come back to you. That's what led me to one of the biggest projects I've worked on to date. Anybody heard of a little festival called French Quarter Fest? Okay, so that's where I was. French Quarter Festival, $350 million in economic value brought to the city, right? Almost 1 million people over a 4-day period in the tiny neighborhood of the French Quarter. I ran the communications and marketing for that entire campaign, right? One of my biggest takeaways, I put my city on the map, right? The culture of New Orleans was very bright. And also, $97 million worth of media value. That is free advertisement for the city of New Orleans, for the vendors, for the local musicians, for the French Quarter, for everyone. So the place that I loved, I was able to give back to in a way that was so important to me because I was bold and I didn't take no for an answer. I advocated for myself and the brand with which I was telling the story on behalf of, and I leaned into my relationships and said, this is what's cool, this is what's happening, and because of that, we were able to also create a partnership with the Media Scholars, which I know some of y'all in here, I think we're out there for French Quarter Fest, and just being able to reach out to your relationships to make amazing things happen for you. And when you do for others, it comes back to you full circle.
Thank you so much, Kristen, for that and closing this out. And I just have 2 things to add before we end and agree with everything that was said on this panel. The first thing is be prepared for rejection, right? Rejection is only a redirection.
Absolutely.
I'm saying this correct because I get told no every day, literally. People who are like, how are you able to do this and do that? I'm like, there were 15 no's before that one yes.
Absolutely.
And there will be more 15 no's before the next yes. Like, we are determined to get to the Olympics. I'm gonna say it here. We are determined for Media Scholars to get to the Olympics. I may have 150 no's before there is a yes, but with advocacy, relationships, prayer, and all of those things, my hope is that we are able to make it there. So that's one thing. The second thing is staying ready. The 17 scholars that we chose, like I said, we had over 200 applications. We interviewed 40, we chose 17. The 17 scholars that we chose were on point, right? They came into those interviews prepared, those work samples. Our entire team, we must have done 12 to 14-hour days reading through work samples, all of the links you shared, your social media. So when it's one thing to get into the room with opportunity, but to not be ready. That is the worst thing, is to not be ready. So stay ready, make sure you're on point, continue to advocate for yourself, prepare for rejection, but know that there is a mentor and a sponsor who is always going to be there to advocate for you. So with that said, please, a round of applause for all of these amazing panelists. And we want you to stay because next up we have Ravian, who's going to do a one-on-one session around content creation.
Awesome. I have one other thing to say really quickly
Sure.
before this is me being bold. So, for those of you, I know we talked about opportunities for you to get to know folks. I believe that networking is paramount to everything. I really believe in the power of community. So, Accrue hosts a quarterly networking event. Our next one is coming up on December 4th. I would love to see each and every one of you in here. This is a community that wraps their arms around each other. We want to see people succeed. And so we'll be actually December 4th, 5 to 8 p.m. And we haven't even announced this yet, but we'll be at the New Orleans Jazz Museum downtown. So please come, admire the art, and come and meet some really dope people doing amazing things here in the city that want to see you win and want to see you be successful.
And we'll post and reshare on our social media.
Absolutely.
One thing, now that I'm looking at everyone, we do have time for maybe 1 or 2 questions from the audience. So I do want to give that opportunity. If there's a question or if you want to comment on something that was said, we do have a few minutes to answer 1 or 2 questions. Yes. Yeah, you may have to come up.
Oh,
or
there
we
we go.
There we go. Let's get some mics in the crowd.
Yeah, exactly. In case people got other questions.
Oh,
There you go.
we're on. Yeah.
It's on.
I'm a junior mass comm major. So my question is, when do you know when to pivot, or like when do you know when something isn't working and when to like figure out what to do next?
Well, there's no fruit that's gonna come from what you're working so hard at. You have a clock in your head naturally. The things that I thought would happen, things that I want would happen, you're literally only running into brick walls. But the problem is you never lose, you only learn. So once you learn, okay, either I went about that wrong or the opportunity that I want is just not present. So then you pivot into the space that, okay, I keep seeing this over here, but it's not where I want to be. Maybe I have to go over there and take the lessons of the no response and utilize that. People recreate, like that's why we have apps and that's why we have business. Entrepreneurs is just found a way to solve a problem. And so with all the no's you receive that they just alluded to, that's your new direction, and now it's unique because no one went through what you went through, no one processed the emotions that came along with those closed doors. You have now created a niche for yourself that you're going to be unique. I was all passionate about this and it didn't work out the way that I wanted it to. But now, with all those lessons, you're going to create something or move into the space that you need to be in to give you everything else that you may not have had to do what you originally wanted to do.
And the other thing I would add is that it may feel like a no, but it's really like a not right now, right? That's something to consider of whether you're applying for something or you're trying to get into a certain industry and you get, like I said, the doors are going to close in your face. Like that's just the reality that we live in. But know that there's always like the workaround, right? Okay, like that may not be for me right now, but I'm a circle back to it the next year, right? And so I would just consider to think about those things too as you're going through your process, and that you may be getting told no or whatnot, but know that it may not be just the right timing, that it may, like I may need more experience, and that there are moments where you have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, you know what, I may not have been ready for that, right? So what are the skills and expertise that I need to go learn to make sure my portfolio is the next level for whatever that opportunity is. So just wanted to offer that. It may not be a no, but it just may be a not right now.
One thing that you referenced in the notes and our notes, a lot of people make this mistake, and a lot of young people heard this wrong all the time. It's not who you know, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Wrong. It's who knows you.
Who knows you?
So please do not forget that. I know Oprah. You know I know Oprah because I Googled her. If I get on the elevator with her because she's in town for Essence Fest at Four Seasons or whatever, oh my God, Oprah, I look up to you. I love everything you do. I'm a journalist. My name is Kendall Francis. I run a nonprofit, Bless 26. I teach character enrichment and personal development. She goes, oh, that's nice. I love your help. Cool. I don't know you. That's pretty much how it's going to go down. Because we always got plans for somebody else's bag. We always, if I had it, I know what I do. Please do not suffer from that disease. Because it's fatal. It's terminal. Like you're not going to last. Everyone has plans for somebody else's bag. How can you make yourself valuable to that person? Why does the person want to get to know you, need to know you, and what can they do with you? How can you add to what they're already doing? So remember that part. Do not fall for that old advice we were lied to about when we were kids.
Yep. Anything to add? Any other questions?
Hi, my name is Akela Bailey. I'm a senior mass comm major here at Dillard. My question is, how do you guys, because we all want to take on every opportunity that comes our way, how do you guys handle career burnout?
That's a great question.
I'm gonna let y'all go with that.
Creative burnout.
Creative burnout. Oh, I just say, if you need to step away from the things you're passionate about, step away. Because you can't promote yourself as a brand, because you're a brand before anything. You can't promote yourself, you can't create videos until you're feeling much better. You're well rested, you're not stressed out. Worry about yourself before the world sees you. Because if the world sees you and you're sick or you're not feeling well, it's not gonna look good. And you're gonna, question like, okay, do I need to do something? Like, what's going on? Why I have no engagement? You need to take time for yourself, because if you don't take time for yourself, you won't come up with the best ideas. You won't have enough time to really go to different events, connect with people, network, because networking is the biggest thing when it comes to content creation. Just balance. Like I said, take time for you. Find hobbies. You see different people doing painting, therapy, literally knitting, other things on TikTok. Like, take that into consideration when it comes to mental health. And if that's something, you could talk about mental health. Talk about the burnouts that you have. Find ways to help other people. But just at the end of the day, worry about yourself first before bringing yourself onto others.
For me with photography, when I get burnout or like writer's block, but like for photography, I have to remind myself that it's something I like to do. When it starts feeling more like a chore, like, oh my God, I don't want to do this right now. I just go out and shoot random stuff. I'll go get my little brothers and be like, let's do pictures, or I'll just go take pictures of trees or something. It resets my brain almost, I have to reconnect yourself with your love for it. I also will just go submit my already done work to art shows. I'll just Google photo submissions for about free, because sometimes they charge me. But I'll just go submit my work to art shows, and sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. But doing stuff with art you've already created helps you reignite that passion for it. So that's something I found. You can do that with anything too, with paintings, with writing samples. They always have submissions everywhere, sometimes locally, sometimes national. But yeah, that's something I also suggest looking online for submissions for your artwork, because most of them are free, and sometimes they're paying you it's a prize. So yeah, that's something I suggest to do for burnout.
For me, I would say when I first started, the goal was to be booked and busy, right? But nobody talk about being booked, busy, and burnt out. So now my ideology is be booked and be ready. Because something people not gonna understand is when you are burnt out and you're not functioning the way you're supposed to, and they expecting this product, or they expecting this person you promote yourself to be. So right after Super Bowl, Dr. Jordan about this, right after Super Bowl, I just got overwhelmingly a lot of requests. People see you doing this, you doing that. And they want you. But I'm still in school. I'm still chasing my career. I still have a personal life, and I still have all types of other things going on that I have to do. And I think people respect it more when I put out a PR statement just saying, y'all, I'm gonna take a break.
Yeah.
I got over 10.4K views on the 10-second video saying, y'all, I'm gonna take a break. And since then, so many people showed me so much love. And when I came back strong. And I'm saying, people, if they want you, they gonna wait for you. So make sure you take your time, make sure you wait on yourself, and you allow people to wait on you. Set that boundary early, not late. Because if not, people will take advantage of you.
Back off of that, you can say no.
Say no.
Say no.
I say no every day. And
Learn that one early.
With an explanation. Say no with a period. And leave it at that.
Sometimes we're all human. Everybody should understand, especially in the media industry, that sometimes it can get overwhelming. Say no if you need to.
All right, team. We can talk all day about this, but we do have some other things to get to. If you do have additional questions, we'll be available afterwards, so definitely come connect with us. But again, a round of applause for our panel. Great gems were dropped. Please stay. We have another great session with Ravian. She is going to go through all things content creation. So if you are a content creator or want to be a content creator, we definitely want you to stay for that. And so give us a quick couple minutes and we'll go ahead and transition to that.